In this video, I'm going to compare 5 budget microphones: the Razer Seiren Mini, HyperX SoloCast, Blue Snowball iCE, Fifine K669B, and Samson Q2U. I'll switch between each mic and talk about the basics of them so that you can hear the difference. Then I'll analyze the sound myself and give my verdict on which one is the best purchase. The Razer Seiren Mini is a USB condenser microphone. It has no knobs or buttons on the device, so to change the volume, you'll have to adjust it in your computer's microphone settings. To mute it, you'll have to use your software. The desk stand it comes with can be adjusted, but the range of motion is very limited. You can unscrew the body from the stand to reveal the 5/8 inch threading. You can then attach it to a boom arm, but in my case, my boom arm has 3/8 inch threads, so I had to use the 3/8 to 5/8 inch adapter to connect it. That came with my boom arm. It's linked in the description. I bought my Razer Seiren Mini for its launch price of $50, but to see its current price, I have a link to it in the description. Now, this is what the Razer Seiren Mini sounds like when it's placed on my desk, and I'm tilting it up towards me as best as I can get it. And this is a keyboard typing test with the Razer Seiren Mini. The keyboard is behind the mic, so that's actually a little bit unrealistic, but if you put the keyboard in front of pretty much any microphone, then it's not going to have a chance unless you use something like Crisp or RTX Voice. The HyperX SoloCast is also a USB condenser microphone. This one has a capacitive mute button on the top, but it still requires software to change the gain. The desk stand is the best out of all 5 of these mics. It holds its weight well, but also has great adjustability, even being able to turn sideways. Though I don't know why you'd want to do that exactly. If they made it point sideways and directly up, I think that would be pretty cool though, because you could talk past it without worrying about plosives. You can pull it right out the stand, and it has both 3/8 and 5/8 inch threading, so it'll fit most boom arms without the need for an adapter. Now this is what the HyperX SoloCast sounds like on my desk. I have it tilted up towards me. This is the HyperX SoloCast. SoloCast on my desk, keyboard is behind it. This is me speaking into it. This is the HyperX SoloCast keyboard typing test. I bought my HyperX SoloCast for $60. Link to this device is in the description. The Blue Snowball iCE is again a USB condenser microphone. No knobs or switches are on this device. Blue also makes another version of this mic, the Blue Snowball. This one, the Snowball iCE, records in cardioid like all the other mics I've shown. Well, technically the Seiren Mini records in super cardioid, but anyway, the Blue Snowball is the same mic as the Snowball iCE, but on the back it has a switch with 3 options. You can do cardioid just like this, but you can also do it with a -10 decibel gain. And the last setting is omnidirectional. The desk stand on the Snowball iCE isn't that good, but it's not the worst. And the ball itself does have some decent adjustability. I'm speaking into the Blue Snowball iCE on my desk right now, and I have it pointed up towards me. This is the Blue Snowball iCE. Keyboard typing test with the Blue Snowball iCE on my desk. I actually have the keyboard a little bit to the side of the Snowball iCE because this stand is like really wide and it takes up a lot of space. So this is the Blue Snowball iCE. I bought my Blue Snowball iCE for $40, link to it in the description. The last condenser microphone on this list is the Fifine K669B. I find this to be the most interesting mic for a few reasons. It's generally the cheapest of all of these mics. I got mine for $34, but I've seen it for even cheaper than that sometimes. It's from a company that no one even heard of before like 2020, and to be honest, I'm not sure if anyone's actually still heard of them with their own ears because everybody seems to pronounce the company name differently. There's Fifine, there's Fifine. I saw a reviewer type in the comments that they actually got the official pronunciation and it's Fine. Anyway, at the time of this recording, this is actually the #1 best-selling condenser microphone on Amazon. Now, the stand is not that good and it is a huge pain to deal with, and it's not obvious how to detach it from the stand and put it on a boom arm, but once you figure it out, you can get it to work. And the wire is also non-detachable, so it's just like kind of a pain. One thing this mic has going for it is it has a gain knob on it, which is very useful. None of the other mics do. Speaking into the Fifine K669B on my desk, this is the K669B. Keyboard typing test with the Fifine K669B. This is what the device sounds with the keyboard. Behind it a little bit to the left because this stand again does take up a lot of space. This is the K669B. The Samson Q2U is a USB and XLR dynamic microphone. This gives it good background noise rejection. The dynamic capsule inside is less sensitive than condenser mics, first of all, but secondly, the Q2U specifically picks up sound from a very narrow axis, though that can be problematic if you wanted to sing into this mic and play an instrument at the same time. This mic is top address while the other mics are side address. The Q2U has a mute switch, a 3.5mm headphone jack for monitoring your audio, headphone volume buttons, and a peaking indicator light, but it's too small to see to be useful really. The headphone volume buttons are kind of weird though, because they're not hardware gain buttons for the headphones, they're software. The mic is made of some pretty beefy metal, which is great for durability, but not so great for the stand. The stand is probably the worst microphone stand that I've ever used. It takes up a ton of space and it's just bulky overall. But the worst part is it can't even hold its own weight, so it falls over really easily. But it's all good, mic stands just suck even on really expensive mics. There's 5/8 inch threading on the microphone clip holder. I'm speaking into the Samson Q2U. This is on my desk right now. This is the Samson Q2U. Samson Q2U keyboard typing test. This is what this device sounds like if I'm typing on a keyboard, and I have this on the desk. The keyboard's a little bit to the left of it and behind it. This is the Samson Q2U. I bought my Samson Q2U for $70, but I've seen it on sale for way less. It just depends on when you're looking for it and where. Link to its current pricing will be in the description. Now I'm going to analyze the sound of each mic in order from my least favorite to my most favorite. Starting with the Blue Snowball iCE in last place. This microphone just picks up way too much background noise for me, and it makes vocals sound a little bit higher pitched than they should be. Podcasters said that this mic sounds nasally, which I think is a pretty good way to describe it. I'm not even hating on Blue for keeping this microphone around, but it's been around for so long that of course it's going to get passed up over a long enough time. Number 4 on my list is the Fifine K669B. So the K669B picks up some pretty good detail, but a lot of the detail is going to be from sound that you might not want to be in your recording. Like as I'm using all these different programs open, my computer fan kicks up. You can probably hear that right now. Maybe louder than all the other microphones, louder than everything, at least than the Blue Snowball iCE, but also there's not a lot of bass. Not a fan of that. Now this is still a great microphone, but the sound doesn't really fit my voice or my use case. It was the business when I was using my laptop, but after I bought this microphone, maybe like 2 or 3 months after, I built my own PC and it has a really loud power supply. So yeah, this just can't block it out. Right in the middle at 3rd place is the Samson Q2U. And this is actually the microphone that I will recommend at the end of this video. And I'll give my explanation for why at the end. But as far as what type of sound I prefer, I like how it blocks out a lot of background noise from my PC fan and keyboard typing. That's the main noises that are going to be like in my room and just a lot of recording spaces that are just at home. But just like the K669B, there is not that much bass in this microphone. Even when you get really close up on it to utilize the proximity effect, this just doesn't really have that. And that's one of the reasons I'm even doing this video in the first place like this. This was originally just going to be the SoloCast versus the Seiren Mini. I was going to call it a day, but then I had a bunch of other budget microphones. And then I was like, okay, well, the Samson Q2U is basically a budget microphone as well, but it's dynamic. So I was like, let's compare a dynamic microphone to a bunch of condensers. Because a lot of YouTubers parrot this idea that dynamic microphones will inherently give you this rich radio broadcaster voice. But listening to this, I don't know about that one, Chief. Now, my main microphone, the Razer Seiren Elite, is a dynamic microphone, and it is very bass heavy, but that's a different mic for a different video. Now, my 2 favorite microphones for my voice are the Razer Seiren Mini and the HyperX SoloCast. Now, both of these mics are warmer or darker sounding than the Q2U, K669B, and definitely the Blue Snowball iCE. But they're not that bassy, and they don't sound unnatural. I think these sound pretty full. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about these microphones, but if you just want the obnoxious journalist soundbite version, then here you go. The HyperX SoloCast is the slightly better microphone because it has a better stand, it has a mute button, and it suffers from less sibilance when you're using it up close. Now that I got that Google snippet out of the way and hopefully answered anybody's question who just wanted a direct answer, now here are my nuanced thoughts. On a desk, the Razer Seiren Mini has a clear advantage. It has less of a bass drop off when you move a little bit farther back from the mic, which is going to be what's happening when you're using it on a desk. And it does pick up a lot of keyboard typing, both of these do, but it doesn't pick up that rumble from bumping the desk nearly as much as the SoloCast. The SoloCast really sounds like there's an earthquake anytime you're typing on a desk. Now on a boom arm, when you use them close up with a pop filter, which you will need a pop filter for both of these if you're going to be using them head on because they are subject to plosives really easily. But when you're using them up close, I feel like the SoloCast has a little bit more bass. Also, the Razer Seiren Mini is subject to more sibilance. It's those harsh S sounds. It just has that frequency it doesn't really like when you're using it really close. But as you can see here, I found the optimal positioning for these microphones, and most of the microphones I've been using lately, I've been using in this position. They're perpendicular to me. That way I can talk past them and not have to worry about plosives, and they're not too close, so I don't have to worry about sibilance, specifically for the Razer Seiren Mini. And I like to have them angled in a way where they're facing away from my computer fan. So in this case, the SoloCast is at a bit of a disadvantage, but generally I like to have whatever the ambient noise is right behind the microphone so it can cut that out. So these two microphones, it's more about which one you like the sound of, or if you really need the mute button. But if you did want one or the other, then I would say the SoloCast is probably a little bit better. You can be a little bit more flexible with this position without worrying about too much sibilance. And it has a mute button. Now my verdict. Which microphone do I actually recommend? I recommend the Samson Q2U. That's a dynamic microphone. It picks up a lot less background noise than my other microphones. That's a really big deal for me and anyone who has like a loud PC fan. Back when I had my laptop, I could just use the K669B, no problem. But once I built my tower, it doesn't really work out because none of the other microphones can cut out that noise like the Q2U can. And same goes for keyboard typing. It has an XLR input if you want to use that. It has a mute switch on it. It has a peaking indicator light, and you can monitor your audio by putting your headphones inside. It comes with this foam cap for mitigating plosive. It has really good build quality. Overall, this is just a very good starter microphone. Links to all of these mics are in the description, but all of this is just advice. At the end of the day, buy whatever you wanna buy.